do dive into this, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the red Terran player representing Twisted Minds. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Little Fairy. It is Shameless. Here we go. Nicoract going up against Shameless. He has a chance here to get his revenge. Likewise, we weren't able to cast that first match and how that all unfolded, so I'm excited. I want to see how these two compare to each other. Clearly, they went to the ace match earlier. They, I would say, are comparable in skill. But how did that series turn out? Traditionally, Nicoract, he is more of an aggressive player. We have seen him thrive a lot in TvT. I would go as far as to say that TvT is Nicoract's best matchup. To be fair, I haven't seen him in the new Cyclone meta. I haven't seen him in the new TvT meta of the current patch. But in general, that is what he was known for. Here against Protoss as well, I'll always remember, oh god, it was like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where we casted Nicoract in some OSC King of the Hills in some Team League matches, and he would just whip out like these crazy all-ins. He would go for a Cyclone all-ins against Protoss, with the old Cyclone, by the way, not with the new one, whipping out mech at times, being very creative and very aggressive. So I want to see how he has evolved as a player. Across the map, Shameless going for a gate expand. Going for a standard opener. Likewise, Nicoract also going for an economic opener himself, going for a Rax expand off of a single gas geyser. So everything looking as it should here in the early game. Nicoract being just a little bit more economic. Worker is going to be moving out, going to be scouting each other. Nicoract does pull back. And we are going Reaper first. This is so refreshing, I'll be honest. After casting a bunch of TvPs over the past couple of days with players like Bjorn and Maru and Clem, and how aggressive they've been, I appreciate just a standard Reaper first. No, I like it. Gonna be able to scatter our opponents, get a bit of damage done. Ooh, and we have our tech of choice. We are going for a Twilight Council. At the same time, Nicoract, show us the starport. Factory is on the way. Reactor as well. I'm imagining an add-on swap here to get into Hellion production and a proxy starport across the map. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Meanwhile, Shameless with this Twilight Council opener should be Blink Stalkers, but we also have Dark Templar on the table. And there it is. There's that proxy starport from Nicoract. Hellions are on the way. And we should be working towards a Hellion drop into the main base. Well, we have one of two options. We can either go for a Hellion drop, or we can go for a Hellion run by into the natural and proxy Liberator instead of proxy medevac. So we do have some options here. As again, Nicoract does want to try to take control of the early game and set a pace. Behind this, it's going to be a Blink Stalker opener. Second gateways in production. Shameless going to be fully walling up here at the natural. Oh, sorry, I was just dying. And Nicoract is going for a medevac. Is going for that Hellion drop towards that main base. Shameless, he's prepared here at the natural, less so in the main. Does have a couple of units here in position. We are setting up for a third base. So it's going to be 2-gate blink into a third, very economic opener out of Shameless. Not being too aggressive at all. But here comes the drop play again. It takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe. We have more than enough. So we do dive into the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down. Boys are being pulled and workers are falling. Going to be 2 workers so far. The medevac barely does escape. The SimCity working against Shameless. Locking the stalkers out. And more probes are going to be falling. They line up. No, they line up towards the end. 6 probes fall. It was looking like a decent defense, but that was quite a bit of damage dealt towards the end. And from here, Nicoract, he takes a worker lead. Not just a worker lead, we have mules on top of that. So Nicoract going to be taking an economic lead overall. Getting into his... Ooh, I was going to say 3-1-1 setup. That is 5 Raxes on 2 bases. This is pretty committed. We're getting into our 5 rack setup. We'll see if we stick to this a little bit longer here, as there's still no third CC on the way. Nicoract is aware as well of the third base of his opponent. And we are building up towards Stim and +1. We're building up a hefty army here with 5 Raxes. And the longer this goes on, the more committed this is looking. Meanwhile, back at home, Shameless is stuck licking his wounds. Again, it was only a 2-gate blink opener, so he can't really counterattack. He can't really have any presence on the map. This was supposed to be economic, and he's lost his economy. Instead, working towards charge, looking like a swarm toss composition. Charge and +1. We will soon be getting our gateway explosion once we get our third base up and running. Oh, but Nicoract, he does get eyes on the observer. He sees, he knows, he shuts it down, and this means that Shameless won't see the move out. No. He won't see whether or not there's a third base or the army moving out across the map. We have a second observer here in the center. And we do need some more scanning information. Medevacs are on the way. And there's that gateway explosion that we spoke about. 6 gateways, so it's going to be 8 gates in total. 8-gate charge. The gateways are just now finishing, and Shameless is still building up on 3 bases. And by this point, I don't see a base. I do not see a third base whatsoever. We're going to be pushing here. We're going to be moving out. Well, the Stalkers, they do run into the army, but one Stalker falls. And Shameless, he needs to slow this down, because this is so very committed. Stim, combat shields +1, it's all finishing up. Now, we are not pulling the boys with this. I was half expecting us to pull the boys. Regardless, it's still a hefty army. Stalker's taking a lot of damage. Force fields are available. Charge is now done. But the Zealots, they trickle in. Decent force fields. A couple of Marines get shaved off, but we have 4 tanks behind this. We have an insane tank count. Reinforcements are on the way. And we're pushing towards the third base. Shameless trying to set up a surround. Gets Stalkers towards the north. He's pushing in, but a little bit too late. Yeah, the Stalkers, they come in too late. They catch a tank. We get 1, we get 2. We get a 3rd tank as well. But there's just too much Terran, too much here. As we break through the army, we break through into the third base. We have a couple more Zealots on the way. There's 1 tank left. There's 1 tank remaining, but it looks like there just isn't enough here from Shameless. GG gets called. He is broken, and Nicoract takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Nicoract taking a hefty economic lead at the start of the game, and from there, going into a 2-base all-in. That was a 2-base all-in there from Nicoract. Didn't pull the boys, but again, there was no third CC behind it, no follow-up upgrades or tech. It was all or nothing for Nicoract, aware that his opponent was vulnerable, and again, Shameless just wasn't able to keep up. Wasn't able to keep up with Nicoract, and that's game 1. Game 1 in the books. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Game number 2 here. Going to be on Site Delta. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our Red Terran player. Our Red Terran representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Protoss player, representing Team Little Fairy down in the series, looking to fight back. It is Shameless. Hello. As Nicoract is going to be sending his first SCV across the map towards the top side as well. Interesting. What do we have in store for us here, as we are going for a proxy Rax? Oh boy. A Rax is being proxied. Now, we did see a proxy Rax earlier when we casted Clem versus Estrella. This should not be proxy Marine. This should be proxy Reaper. I mean, I say that. It is a little bit further back. We are going double gas. This should be Reaper production here from Nicoract. Looking to get into the main base. Looking to try to cripple the economy of Shameless as he transitions back at home. Next minute, let's see the tech lab. Let's see it, Papi. Probe comes in. Probe Scout is going to confirm that the Rax is missing. We're also going to get eyes on both gases being taken as well. So we are aware that something is a little bit wrong. It is not uncommon to hide the Rax at the third base or at the natural location, so Shameless, he does have to check. Does have to look. As he's checking the natural base, soon to be checking the third as well. Reapers are on the way. And the SCV is going to be heading behind the mineral line. So the goal here is to get a bunker up and running, to take control of the low ground, take control of the economy. Bunker is on the way. Thankfully, Shameless is already here on the low ground, so we can try to tase away at that SCV. But the Reaper is about to pop out. And this bunker should finish. Again, good control so far. The Nicoract does RNG onto the other side of that bunker. Reaper comes in. And the probe does go down. We got one worker so far. We want some more. Going for more damage here. The probe's taking a lot of hits. Ooh, second probe falls. Nicoract is barely going to be forced back. Shield battery on the way. Ooh, and Shameless, he can now position this Reaper. Uh-oh. Yeah, the Reaper is just too low. We cannot get to the bunker. Not anymore. Second Reaper does arrive. We're going to try and dive in. Looks like we will make an intercept bunker as well. We're going to try and delay mining for as long as we can. Behind this, Nicoract getting into a 1-1-1. Already working towards the starport. Stalkers have arrived. Again, shield battery going to be topping them up, but we are getting damage dealt here to this bunker. So far, good juggling with the SCV. Great ice control there from Nicoract. Just trying to avoid those shots. Repair as much as he can. Oh my god. Eventually, this will be salvaged though. Eventually, this will be shut down. As the third Reaper comes in, we shut down one of the Stalkers. Ooh, this is becoming a bit too much. Stalker falls, that should not have happened. Yeah, overcharge is popped as well. Great trade here for Nicoract. As he does salvage. Salvage just in time, and now Shameless, he can Maynard over and saturate his natural. Oh. But again, Nicoract did an amazing amount of damage, like delaying mining time, as well as killing a Stalker. Really good stuff so far. Behind this, we're getting into an armory. Oh my god. Papi. Nicoract getting ready for a mine drop, a very committed mine drop at that. We don't see this too often. Here we go, 4 wind mines zooming across the map, and we're not done. We have more wind mines behind this, and more medevacs. We're doubling down, we're committing to drop play. Now, this is really risky. If this doesn't get damage done, Nicoract will fall behind. We're committing so hard here, delaying tank production, delaying cyclones as well, or skipping cyclones. Investing so hard into mass wind mine. We have Reapers zipping in towards the natural, drop into the main. Detection will be required. Detection not available. Boy's gonna be pulled. Up, up. Oh my god, as we waddle on ever closer. Getting towards that mineral line. Mine shot's gonna be going up. So far, good reactions. There is one Widowmine left here behind that Nexus, but it will go off. 5 probes in total. 5 workers go down, but the Widowmines, they're gonna reset. There is an observer on the way. But will the mines in the main base go off again for a second time? Ah, they will. Uh-oh. We do shut down one of those mines. Shameless does pull away. Does pull away just in time. Of course, we lose another handful of workers. Reaper goes in. We have another mine drop. The mines in the main base are going to get cleaned up. Mines are dropping. We do get eyes on this, and so far, good reactions out of Shameless. Going for the scan. Going for the scan. He wants the observer. Doesn't quite get it. Unfortunately, a wasted scan for Nicoract, and we will hold. And we need to take stock here. A couple of things about what just happened. One, the Widowmines, they traded at least to survive, which is good. But Nicoract, he did delay his natural base. He delayed his natural in favor of the 1-1-1, which is why he's actually a little bit behind in workers. He has killed 9 probes in total, but again, he's still struggling here in the worker count. Still not ideal for Nicoract, still building himself up. Behind this, oh my god, it's another 2-base all in. Jesus. I know that I said earlier that Nicoract is known for his aggression, but calm down. Oh my god. Oh, the mine drop. The mines are going to be shot down. Detection is available. Ooh. Stalker goes down. Clean up the winter mines. And again, behind this, we are on 5 racks. It's going to be just like the previous game. 5-1-1 setup here on 2 bases. Very aggressive. Very aggressive production here from Nicoract. Shameless dips in. Let's get eyes on the army. Blink is done, so we can try to slow down this push as best he can as he moves out. And we see Shameless getting into his own gateway explosion. But again, Shameless, he is on 3-base saturation. He's on 56 probes. Unlike the previous game, Shameless, he can sustain himself. Getting up to 8 gateways. Nicoract building up towards his push. Still needing a little bit more time. It is going to be a terrifying army, but as opposed to the previous game, Shameless, he should have more to defend. Should. That's a thing to bear in mind. So you go. We have our on siege. Nicoract getting ready for his push. Behind this charge, still on the way, just now finishing. The Stalkers will try to slow this down. Good pick off. Nicoract does get eyes on the observer. 4th base on the way. Oh, this is... I'm not too sure about this. We're being a little bit greedy here. Remember, there's no 3rd. We're all in here. We're committed with this push. We need to defend more than anything, not focus on our economy. Shameless is already ahead. We are picking away at these Marines. The damage being dealt. Prism slips in. Oh, and there's not much at home to defend. Do we see a big warp? And as they collide with the army, we catch the tanks. 1, 2 tanks go down. And we're getting on top of everything else. The 3rd tank is going to fall as well. Nicoract, he gets cleaned up. He has reinforcements on the way, but Shameless just shuts this down. I appreciate that Shameless didn't warp in into the main base. The Prism just now warping in. We needed the defenses back at home. We shut down the tanks, and then we harass. And the Zealots are going ham. 9 SCVs go down, taking control of the economy. We take control. And Nicoract, he's just racing back home here. We'll deal with this, we'll clean this up, but again, he's all in. And he barely has an economy to speak of. He's down to 35 SCVs. He doesn't want to be making workers right now. And behind this, Shameless, he's getting away with his 4th. This was greedy. I'll stand by it. This was a greedy move out of Shameless. He doesn't need the 4th, but he has it. And he's looking even better as a result. Sustaining himself, warping in, getting into immortal production, +2 on the way. I would love to see a Temple Archives. Meanwhile, more Zealots are going down. Sorry, more SCPs are going down to the Zealots. 5 more worker kills. Nicoract going for his 2nd wave. At this point, we may as well pull the boys. We are so committed. Isn't being forced further back. Reinforcements stuck at home as well. Nicoract is pushing, and he has potential looking at the armies. Nicoract technically has a larger army supply. He's got 2 tanks, got a handful of Marauders, chunk of Marines. He scans ahead of time. There's no splash damage, no storm, no colossus, no disruptors. Can Nicoract pull this off? Well, it's the force field. Oh my god, the force fields are insane. We clean up half of the bio army. Slowing down the push. Zealots still across the map, still wreaking havoc. Delaying any kind of reinforcements. Big tank volleys going off, but we have the overcharge. And here come the Immortals. We shut down the tanks once again for a 2nd time. Nicoract, again, he barely has an army. Being forced back. No 3rd TC. No longevity. And Shameless is pushing. This time he's committing. Going for a big counterattack. We have the Prism to reinforce. With the help of the War Prism, we can, of course, push in, but may as well wait. May as well wait for the Colossus. At this point, we can afford a 2nd Robo, double Colossus production, getting into Disruptors. Shameless, he has options. Has options at this point. Nicoract less so. Oh my god. A third TC is on the way, but this is a Hail Mary play here. It's a bold third base timing at the 11-minute mark. While Shameless, he's up 2 bases. Again, like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? It's like the 2-base all-ins have failed twice now for Nicoract. Like, he just hasn't been able to gain momentum. So he most likely knows that he cannot break Colossus anymore. At the same time, it's too late to take a third, but we have to, like, what's the other option? To, like, run your army into a death ball of a Protoss army and just lose everything is not the wisest of choice. I mean, it's not an appealing choice for Nicoract. So we're taking a third. We're praying we can maybe stabilize. If Shameless backs off for a couple of minutes, if he stays at home, then Nicoract can catch up. But Shameless is maxed. He's at 200 supply. He's ready. He's ready for anything. And Nicoract still licking his wounds. Working on that potential third. As he moves out, Shameless should be moving in. Like, his kind of trigger point at this point should be Nicoract attempting to expand, as he is exposing himself. Nicoract is going to be exposed, and Shameless is going to be scouting with Hallucination. He hasn't seen the third yet, but he soon will. Hallucination dives in, we get eyes on the CC. We get eyes on the saturation, and immediately Shameless pushes. Yeah, that's the correct call here. Shameless knows that he doesn't want to push into a 2-basing Terran, but a 3-basing Terran, that's a different story. Again, this position we can attack from multiple angles. It's that much more wide open. There's no ramp to defend. Shameless is going to be committing. And what do we have to defend? We have 6 Vikings. We have 1 tank in the backline. We have a lot of Marauders. And we're going for the push. That 1 tank getting a lot of damage done here in the back line, but 12 SCVs go down, 13 as we have a big warp it into the main base. Zealots in the natural, in the main, and the main army pushing towards the third base. Everything is on fire. Everything is flashing red. And Shameless, he will break through. GG gets called. Shameless ties up the series 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match. Let's go. We are going the distance here. Again, this game, Nicoract, he was so aggressive here, going for the armory Widowmine drops, delaying his third base, committing to his 2-base all-in as well. Unfortunately, he did set himself behind. The Widowmine drop didn't do enough, not just because how committed it was, but also because we did delay our natural base to get into the 1-1-1 to begin with. So, Nicoract, there was a lot of onus, there was a lot of pressure on him to kill workers. And he did kill some probes, not enough. He killed 9 probes in total for 6 Widowmines, which again was just not a good enough trade. 6 Widowmines plus the medevacs plus the armory plus the delayed base, and Shameless was able to look quite comfortable in the aftermath of that, and able to secure his position and snowball into a win. And now we're getting into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends in game number 3, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hardlead, we have a red Terran player representing Twisted Minds. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy, tying up the series 1-1. It is Shameless. Go. Actually, I like that Shameless doesn't try to fight off the natural ramp. Yeah. It's very... It can be very tempting, like, especially if you're maxed out, especially if you know that you have an advantage. Like, pushing up a ramp can be the death of you. We've seen many a player be up in supply and suddenly lose that advantage by pushing up into the defender's advantage. So Shameless just having a secure end to the game there as we ease into the ace match. As the probe is going to be pushing. Okay, some scanning information. Nicoract going for a more economic opener. Let's go. A Rax expands. We're bringing it back just like game 1. So as opposed to the proxy, as opposed to the all-ins from game 2, we have Nicoract just calming down here in game number 3. Working towards that CC on the low ground. We can see Shameless being as annoying as possible, trying to delay that expansion. Will he throw down the pylon? As for now, just rotating around. And Nicoract, his natural waste is going to be delayed by a couple of seconds, but he will get it on location. And we can ease into our game. And ease on in. Ramp OP, unironically, it's pretty good. Don't underestimate a ramp. It's not as good as Brood War, of course, but good nonetheless. As Shameless back at home going for his tech of choice. And what do we see? So far we've seen a lot of Twilight Council play. No Stargate openers yet. As Reaper tries to dip in. Forced out by the Adept. And there it is, once again, 3 games in a row. Twilight Council opener out of Shameless. Should be Blink. I imagine Blink into 2 gateways into our 3rd base, but we'll see. Keep our eye on Shameless. As Reaper is forced back behind this, Nicoract getting into his own setup as well. Working towards his racks into factory. He will not be going for a 3 racks, which is viable here on hard lead. We're even going for his safety cyclone. I believe he hasn't seen the tech as... Oh no, okay, he has. He has seen the Twilight Council. Nicoract, he has scouted. Reaper does dive in. Oh! And so far we do get a probe. Pretty good pickup here for Nicoract. 1 worker goes down. We deny mining time. Adept out of position. We will force this back. This will only Side Delta Radisson Station have a ramp? Yes. Yes. Only Side Delta Radisson Station. Only 2 maps with a ramp in this map pool. Stark contrast compared to our previous map pools as well, where ramps were more common at the natural location. Far more common. Going to be forcing back that Adept once again. Behind this, we're actually getting to really fast tank production. This is not of the norm, by the way. So there's no mine drop whatsoever. The Adept trying to get a scout, but will be denied. Really fast tank production going to Banshees as well. Oh my god. Once again, aggression on the table from Nicoract. Fast tanks typically means fast push. Likewise, Banshees can add quite a lot of DPS to this. Very Beyond-esque. Beyond is also one to incorporate Banshees and tanks here early on for some hyper-aggressive pushes. 3rd base is going to be on the way for Shameless. And here comes the army very early on, by the way. My god. On top of the ramp. Catch a Stalker. Oh, Stalker goes down. Good pick off there from Nicoract. Behind this, we see Shameless getting to Safety Immortal. 2-gate Blink into Colossus, question mark. No additional gateways yet. Again, Nicoract is going to be rotating around, this time meeting up with the Banshee. 2 more racks behind this. Got just really early tanks. And our goal would be to wedge ourselves in between the bases and push towards the natural. Get on top of the robo. We'll see if we can. See if we can, as we're just waiting for the 2nd tank. And if we can get within range of either the Nexus or the production, it is going to go down. And we're going for the base. We're going for the 3rd. Shield batteries on the way. We have an Immortal, thankfully, but we missed the army completely. The Stalker's out of position. And Nicoract, he dives in. Stalker's nowhere to be found. Tanks a siege upon the Nexus. Stalkers are racing back home. There's an Immortal. Forced above the overcharge. We can have our way with this base. Big tank volleys go up. Overcharge going to try to keep it alive. But with 2 tanks, it's just too much DPS. And It's gonna go down. There's no saving it. There's no saving the space. The boys have to be pulled. They have to evacuate, and the third base goes down. Big pick-off. At the same time, we try to catch reinforcements, but Shameless gets caught out instead. And Nicoract, he can just back off, rotate around, and deny the third again for a second time. He's doubling back in. He's doubling back. Additional gateways on the way. Tanks are sieging. The armor, the shields are triggered. Pylon's going to be going down. Shield battery as well. And Nicoract, he can just keep the pressure up, keep the pressure on. One immortal remaining. Colossus on the way, but the tanks are getting within range of the production. We're going for the kill. We don't care about the third base, not anymore. Good target firing, 2 tanks go down, but at a cost of every single unit. The Stalkers, the Immortals, and Nicoract, he's snowballing out of control. He breaks through, GG gets called, and Nicoract will take the series 2-1, qualifying for the round of 4. GG. GG, well played. Oh my god, again, really fast tank production there out of Nicoract. Hyper aggressive style, going straight for that third base, and unfortunately, Shameless didn't see the move out. Remember, he had a scouting Stalker on the left-hand side, which did get denied. Likewise, as the army was pushing towards the third base, we had Stalkers moving out towards the center, out of position. If we had something to get eyes on the move out on the position, then we would have seen, we would have 100%, we had Blink already, would have seen Shameless slowing down the army, engaging in the center of the map, and picking away at the Marines, getting in position with his Immortal. It was very much so on Shameless to get an eye on the move out, and unfortunately wasn't able to. It did catch him completely off guard. He was caught with his pants down, and Nicoract makes it through. GG. GG, well played. Wayne and Nicoract, they make it out of Group B. And now we're getting ready for some Group A action. I'm ready for it, Bobby. I am ready for it. My condolences to Shameless. Shameless, he had a deep run. I brought this up earlier, but I always bring this up. How Shameless, he did amazingly in the Euro Cup. He did amazingly in Hatchery Cup as well. Like, Shameless, he's been getting some really good performances. And even here in the Christmas Cup, sure, he gets knocked out in the round of 8, but he had a really deep run. And Shameless, he even brought down some big names to make it this far. Fun fact, in the group stage, in the round of 16, Shameless, he 2-0'd Young Yakov, which is crazy, by the way. I know that a lot of these players are a little bit more unknown, and there are some people that maybe, they know Young Yakov, right? They don't know Shameless. Young Yakov, he's known for, you know, beating Cyril, for example, you know, being an up-and-comer and having some deep runs in these major tournaments. In DreamHacks and ESLs, in the regionals. For Shameless to bring Young Yakov down 2-0 is crazy, and yeah, had a really good performance. Wasn't able to replicate that against Wayne, unfortunately. Wasn't able to bring that out. But I had a good performance nonetheless, and yeah, GG. Congratulations, hope he is not disappointed with his performance here tonight. As we get ready for Group A. Here we go.